Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland review, and welcome to Wasteland Talks, my weekly talk show where I talk about whatever the hell I want. And this week, doing a special spoiler talk of Strange World from Disney Animation with my pal Joe, who is what you could say an animation expert.
So, here we go. I came in prepared.
Ah, yes. See? House of Mouse.
There we go.
Oh boy! Why do we finance this piece of shit?
Oh my, and that kind of tips our hand a little bit. Wouldn't quite call this a piece of shit.
I know, I was a bit of an exaggerator. It's
and
yeah.
This video is getting not made for children.
There you go. So now you don't have to worry about it being demonetized.
Yeah. Not even there yet.
There you go. So, we crossed that bridge.
We're almost there. I think I have 23 more subscribers and I have 1,000 and I could get monetized. But we're here to talk about the new Disney animation film, Strange World, and Joe's going to tell you what it's about.
Okay, so it's funny you say that because as far as what the movie's about, the trailers didn't really do a good job about that. Like, I remember listening about this movie. It's like, it's Strange World! Fantastic World! Jules Verne! Ha ha! Where what it really comes down to is you have a world, and it's obviously not our world. It's kind of a fictional world where you have an explorer who has a child, and at some point, you know, the explorer father and the child split up, and then the child grows up into a father, and he has a son, and then he's called for adventure in the most... Adventure!
In Alan Tudyk voice.
In Alan Tudyk, yep. In the most basic way possible, he's called in for an adventure, and he may even cross paths with his father, because not only is this a story about an outward adventure, it's a story about being internal. An internal adventure, an internal
And
fight.
you know what? We could have been like, spoiler alert, but this is a spoilers talk, and that's the crap they gave away in the trailer.
Yeah.
Didn't tell you what the movie was about. Didn't tell you that this story is actually about this town that our main character, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, has adapted this plant with some kind of electrical force in it to power this whole entire town, and then it stops working. So then they have to go find what's going on with it in this strange world.
And it's when we mentioned that too, because that brings up a problem that I have story-wise, where we'll probably get into that a little bit. But as far as, like, you know, what it was, let's start with what I liked about it. Maybe that's a good place to start. You know, as far as, like, what I did like about it is that the imagery, I'm torn, because on one hand, I love the character design, because it kind of elaborates on what, you know, the style of storytelling they're going for. There's a part of me that's like, when you're doing, like, you know, grand adventure type storytelling in a movie made for the family, how are you going to do it in a way that's not, you know, something that can turn the kids off or, you know, make the kids disturbed? I mean, a part of me wants to see monster designs, wants to see disturbing imagery or something that has a little bit of grit to it. And there's an aspect of that where you do get that sense of wonder, you know. I hate that I'm going into, like, a negative already, but I am kind of, like, sick and tired of the Avatar-type character design we're seeing in everything now, where you could kind of feel like it is kind of leaning towards an extension to their theme park for Avatar World. What do you think?
Like, this could have easily been, like, an Avatar-esque, like, big, crazy live-action... fantasy. But
James Cameron determines
smooth.
Smooth, definitely smooth.
Everything's smooth.
Yeah.
Everything looks like flubber or Play-Doh.
There is a scene where I'm pretty sure Flubber does show up.
It's like flubber, Play-Doh, Gumby. Basically any malleable, smooth character design you could possibly think of. That's every creature in this movie. And whether it's the blue blob thing that's like our new Hey, or
Flubber.
Flubber.
Or Flubber. Our new side character, our new plush toy. They even make they make a joke about that, and that's another problem I have with the movie is the fact that it's very on the nose when it wants to be smart and say, we know tropes exist, but we're going to still do them anyways.
I do think that this feels like a film that has an immense budget. And like, spoilers, let's just get this out of the way. This strange world is a giant animal.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a giant creature, and the whole entire film, they've been living on the back of this giant creature. Mm-hmm. Their whole journey is through the insides of this giant creature, leading up to them finding the heart being destroyed by this element that we put into practice. Mm-hmm. So what we're saying is the world's being destroyed by our use of an element made by the earth. Sounds like gasoline, or oil, or coal. So basically, it's like this movie is very, 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 very on the nose about environmentalism and global climate change and all that kind of stuff. It's very clear what this movie is about. And not only is it very clear, but then it tells us too.
But it doesn't even do that even right, because coal and gasoline and fossil fuels have a direct impact on the ozone layer. Mm-hmm. This plant is not really... I still don't understand how the plant is bad. I guess for the world.
It was literally attacking its heart.
So they treat it like a cancer.
Yeah. It was like they come to the heart, a literal heart. Which, the reason I bring this up is because that looked amazing.
Yeah, it did.
Like, they basically kickstart the heart.
The money is on the screen, basically, when you see that.
And you just see this giant heart, and you could feel it.
Yeah.
But then, the whole entire movie, the one dream of the father, like father's grandfather, was to go behind the mountains. And you actually get beyond it, it's ocean, because they were in a giant monster. And then this eye opens, and you're like, holy crap. And it looks amazing. It was very on the nose, though. It turned out to be like a turtle, which is from all kinds of...
Yeah, it's aspects of like so much fiction, like...
And also like... Honestly, like Native American stories and mythology and all kinds of stuff. And like, the Pokemon Torterra, which is like a turtle with a whole entire world on its back, comes from so much like folklore and stuff like that. It just felt
in
really
Islam too. There's the idea that the world is on a whale.
Yeah, it just felt very on the nose at that point. Basically, this whole entire movie's on the nose. The screenplay for this is so blunt and so in your face. But let's take it all the way back to the beginning of the film. So first off, negative. There's no animated short before this.
I love that you're still on this, because it's true. I've been so primed to see an animated short in a Disney movie. Where's my animated short?
Exactly. How do we know that there wasn't one? Bam! Strange World pops up right on the screen. And this film channels, like, the beginning video at the beginning of Up? It's like, into these new worlds! And, like, that kind of radio talk person, and like it's Alan Tudyk, because Alan Tudyk is Disney Lucky Charm, and it's just like, and we're going to be talking about the Clade family, and like, I have to say,
it's a good song.
The front runner for best original song at the Oscars better be this song that they made about the Clade family, because let listen to these names. Jaeger Clade.
Jaeger Clade, yeah.
Most manliest man alive, played by Dennis Quaid. And great. Names his son Searcher Clade. And you're just like, wow, what a name. Then they name their son Ethan. And it's just like... Which, I'm not making a big deal because that's my brother's name.
You really, yeah.
I'm saying like, yeah, you had some cool names here, and then you just picked a normal name. And then it's just like, Ethan. But like, this song at the beginning of the movie, I loved it. This is really sad. That's probably my favorite part of the whole entire movie.
I know.
But like, it's like, the father's lost. He goes off adventuring and leaves his son behind. And it's just like, oh, I would wonder if he'll ever come back. I really wish the trailers didn't give that away because I feel like that could have been a big, interesting piece to this. But the trailer, I think, like you were alluding to, there's two pieces to this.
There is.
There's the family drama, and then there's the adventuring.
Right.
And it captures the spirit of the adventuring. It feels like an Indiana Jones thing. It feels like a Jules Verne world.
Yeah.
But that's on the back burner.
Yeah.
And you can tell by the trailers that that's the case because they focus more on the human drama.
Yeah.
The only thing is the human drama is so bluntly written that it's just like everything about it just feels so spelled out for you.
Not only that, there's literally a scene. So the father has this worry that his son is going to turn into his father and he is going to disown him. How do we know that? Because the son literally turns into his father and tells him he's going to disown him. Like, it's supposed to be played up as being funny and cute, but to me, it's just lazy because, one, it's been done so many goddamn times, and two, the Goofy movie came out already, and that movie perfected father-son relationships. Sorry. So, you can't top that, Disney.
Basically, I think I literally started singing this in the theater to myself, was when the scene where, like, Ethan the son basically calls out his dad for becoming his dad. Because here's the thing. Yeager.
That is a badass name.
Yeah. Wants Searcher to be an explorer. Searcher wants to be a farmer. Mm-hmm. So he's like, no, I want to be a farmer. Searcher's like, I want my son to be a farmer. Ethan's like, I want to be an explorer. Searcher's like, no, you're going to be an explorer like me. Like Yeager said to him when he wanted to be a farmer.
And the funny thing is, too, if you really get down to it, Yeager does mean hunter in German.
There you go.
So it's more blunt. And then Searcher, he's searching for crops. He's searching for plants.
And then Jacob Gyllenhaal is just like, I became just like my father. No crap. Like, you didn't need to say that. We already knew this. We already felt this. And then I just started singing myself. The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. And just like, yeah, that's this movie. So like...
Am I going to get a drink soon?
It just spells it all out. And here's the thing. It's like, you have all this familial drama. It's all spelled out so much and so telegraphed. You know exactly where this is going to go.
Yeah.
You could tell from the beginning. Like, these are all the beats that are going to happen. It happens just like that. And then they spend so much time building this up in this hour and 42-minute film that they just kind of forget, like, oh crap, we need to have a third act of this big adventure. And then you have mutineers who don't get in trouble for mutinying.
And then you have side character, and not only that, breezing through certain things, like, I'm 150% positive that a character dies on screen. We don't see that character ever again. And I hate making comparisons to, like, other movies, but think about, like, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, when the crew dies.
This movie,
yeah,
basically feels like Disney trying to do that again.
Oh, they even mentioned in the movie 25 years ago, and I'm almost positive Treasure Planet and Atlantis, The Lost Empire did come out exactly 25 years ago from the...
No, because that was the 90s.
Oh, no, 2000s.
Well, 25 years before now would be in the 90s.
You're right. That's why you're an accountant.
See, I teach math.
He teaches math. That would be 97. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, seriously, though, this feels like them trying to redo the spirit. Like, there's a lot of similarities that you probably wouldn't expect, but it 100% has.
Yeah.
And to your point, the character... So, there's a lot more heft in Atlantis. Mm-hmm. Feels like consequences.
Yeah, because, like, when the characters die... There's a funeral. Like, they actually put out these little gravestones. They do the same thing in Treasure Planet when the first mate dies. Like, a character dies, you know the consequence. A character literally gets sucked out of a fucking window. Excuse my language, I know. I apologize. Gets sucked out of a window, and no one ever mentions him ever again. There's this character that I presume is supposed to be funny, and he's like I guess he's supposed to take care of Ethan, the son. But, like, we don't know anything about him. He's just another...
Yeah, and they got Karen Sony to play him. Dupinder from Deadpool.
Oh, my God, that is so disappointing.
Yeah, and they really do it. And Lucy Liu's character in this is just like, look, I'm a badass woman. mutiny, and then at the end of the movie, no, we're chill.
And it's so disappointing because Lucy Liu is so good. One of my favorite episodes, it's like low key, not top 10, top 20 episodes of Futurama, is the Lucy Liu episode where Fry dates a robot version. She's good at animation. She has a voice. She can do well as behind a booth.
Hey, she's in Kung Fu Panda too.
Yeah, too.
Yep. It's like there's just. I literally turned to Joe. I'm just like, they mutinied. And then nothing happened.
I looked at you too. I'm like, so we're doing this now. They literally had a scene? So we got to give some credit as to like why this isn't the worst thing ever. Like there's some moments in the movie where they bring up really good points, and we were talking about this when we were leaving the theater. Not all movies need to have a villain as a conflict.
Yep.
And in this story, it's not necessarily about, man versus man. It's about man versus nature in a sense, right? Man versus nature.
And also, man realizing we need to get the hell out of nature's way of doing its thing because we kind of ruin it.
Exactly. And in some ways you appreciate that. Like, they were even on the nose saying, like, we can't, destroy the environment, So when you have a moment where a character's mutinying another movie, it's like, are we going back to that?
Is Lucy Liu now an antagonist here? But then within a couple minutes, because the whole third act of this movie happens in like 20 minutes. Yeah. Like, they rush through the whole entire thing, and then you're like, oh, we're hugging at the end. I'm like, oh, they're hugging.
It's like they're dissolves, and I know the dissolves are supposed to be throwback to serials. Like, the movie has dissolved transitions, and you could look at it as being an homage, the same way the score is kind of an homage to like old serials. I definitely got
Henry Jackman.
I definitely got a lot of Back to the Future vibes with the soundtrack. I don't know if you did too.
I was getting some Indiana Jones. Like all the font too is like very Indiana Jones.
Very much.
It just it was trying to create convenience.
Yeah.
For the we need some conflict here right now, because then otherwise this third act that we barely threw together anyway would be too easy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, did you really need that though? And then I literally just watched Muppet Christmas Carol yesterday. They pulled a Rizzo the Rat. Where Flubber, Blue Flubber, for the sake of our conversation, they're locked in a closet. Dog's trying to get them out.
Oh my god.
Blue Flubber goes under the door and shows the dog how to do it, then goes back into the closet.
Have we seen that in how many movies?
And then why'd Rizzo the Rat not just go under the gate in Muppet Christmas Carol? I'm just like, they did that too.
You know what other movie did that trope too? Dude, Where's My Car? When he's trying to tell his friend how to get out of the jail cell and he actually does it himself to show him how to do it. Like, listen, homages to like certain tropes in movies can be done really well. Like, one of my favorite variations on the mirror trope where a doppelganger is staring and it's not quite the other person is Annihilation, where it perfects that trope in my opinion.
Oh, well, that's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
That's something, and like, because that's the thing, it takes it in a whole entire different
right.
Thing. This is just this is just the same old tired joke. And it's just like...
The reactions, the shot, it's the same thing.
Like, I would have... they're like, oh, the dog's trying to open a door. It's so funny. I would have preferred there to be a subversion of just like, oh, wait a minute, can't you just go under the door? Oh! And then just slip under and get them out.
Yeah, I like that they never even bring up the fact they showed the character like stretch out and grab a character. They know he's tangible and he's like...
Or even better, don't have the mutiny.
Yeah. Cut that scene out.
Yeah, let's go.
Why are they in a closet?
Let them go back to the root of the problem. There shouldn't have been this mutiny at the end of the movie. It just felt like needless. Like, I know what they're trying to do. Yeah. They needed to build up some extra tension.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessary. It didn't feel like it needed to be there, but it was there. And how they did it didn't work because there's no consequences, and then they just kept opening it up to tired jokes anyway.
Right.
So, like, you could have done this mutiny and kept it in the film and made it effective and had some weight and consequences to it, but it just felt like a quick inconvenience to extend the third act like a good 4 minutes.
Which is tough because, like, when you look at this film, this movie felt shorter than it actually was. This is the type of movie that could have been 70 minutes tops. if not 65 minutes.
That's the thing, because, like...
It feels like a serial.
What happened?
Serials are short.
What happened in this movie? Here's the whole plot, right? They leave their home. They see the strange world. They see more of the strange world.
Mm-hmm.
They see more of the strange world. Mm-hmm. Dad shows up. They show more of the strange world. They show more of the strange world. We get to the end of the strange world, and then have to do something. And that's the end of the movie.
And the thing that's holding it all together is these parallels between the father's expectations of himself as a father, the son's expectations on himself.
Well, and when Jake Gyllenhaal's character confronts his father, and he said, I need to destroy my accomplishments and my legacy for the sake of my son. And I'm like, thanks for spelling out that we need to, like, take back the progress that we've made that's destroying our own planet so that our kids could live on a planet someday.
Said by Disney.
Said by Disney.
Said by the one company that will not let go of shit.
Well, and that's where the meta commentary on things comes into play, because, of course, this is made by artists who have a message to say and stuff like that, and they believe in these things. But it's all bankrolled by Disney, which is like giant corporation, who's contributing to all of this.
Right, and as much as that's the irony, that's also one of the aspects that I do kind of appreciate about this film. And if worked out in a better film, right? And I told you this earlier too when we had dinner afterwards. Is Leica has been on a roll with these types of family dilemmas, and not only family dilemmas. This is probably like one. I know they've been doing it more, but this is one of the few times I've seen in a movie directed for a family audience where they use gender neutral terms. Mm-hmm. Now you don't think about that as much, but really this is the type of language that we are going towards that needs to be implemented. That I think needs to be kind of talked about, where characters aren't assuming a gender. Like one of the moments in the film that I thought was just really. I thought it was well written. Yeah. When the grandfather is discovering, trying to get to know his grandson more, and he's asking his grandson, who is it? Not who is he, not who is she.
Who are they interested in?
And once he finds out if it's a he, then he talks about it being a guy.
You know how to impress him?
Yeah.
Take him into a dangerous situation.
and try to... That's what Dennis Reynolds would say, by the way.
Well, and that's the thing, because, like... This goes the Umbrella Academy route.
Yeah.
Of, like, when they reveal that Elliot Page's character is
as Elliot, not... Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we're supportive.
Victor, not Victor, that's his name.
Yeah. And it's just, we're supportive.
Yeah. And they don't make a thing about it,
and they move on. And that's what this movie does. And
which they should have done with that fucking mutineer. Like, don't have a thing about that. Just move on from that. We don't disagree.
Well, and the thing is, it's like, I wish that they had the finesse of that representation in the messaging about climate change and stuff like that, because everything else was just like so in your face and blunt, smacking the face with it. And this feels like one of those kinds of films where the message overshined the movie. Yeah.
And I don't like that sometimes when...
Because here's the thing. Yeah. If you want to make a message, make a documentary. Mm. If your main goal is to make a message and to tell a message, and you're not going to elevate it with the effort to make a compelling story, just make a documentary.
2 films that come up that Disney did that balanced message and balanced good storytelling. Mm-hmm. Zootopia.
Great murder mystery.
Great murder mystery, but also a great commentary on race.
Exactly.
And culture and, living New York. and Encanto, a great story about generational trauma and how...
And has wonderful music.
Yeah. Beautiful music.
Beautiful music.
Great storytelling. It's a classic Disney movie told with a very good story, that favors what the artist is going for.
Well, and to make another Avatar connection, this movie put in just about as much effort to its plot as Avatar did.
Couldn't they have had a good villain, though, like in Avatar. That was probably one of the few things that was good about that film.
If Stephen Lang just showed up in this movie,
we're just gonna go ahead and destroy the heart.
Yeah,
just that big mech suit.
And that's the thing. Avatar is very basic, trope-filled narrative that we've seen in cliche. I could say how many different films with Dancing with Wolves and Pocahontas and The Last Samurai and all that stuff. They didn't put plot and story first.
No.
They put message clear in the front, and effects.
Yeah.
That's this movie.
Yeah, I remember when this movie was promoted. It was really cool seeing this image, seeing that they were harking back to adventure-style animation that Disney did with Atlantis. I was looking forward to that.
Yep.
Because, I even said before we started the movie, I was like, this is kind of exciting. Because we really came in with a clear, expectation.
Atlantis had, and I think Atlantis gets too much crap on. This movie, Atlantis had a sense of adventure and characters, and this movie just lacked it.
Panache.
And all the characters were either nothing or just stands in for a message.
And you could even say that with the character designs. It always felt derivative. I mean, it's nice. You mentioned the heart. To me, the character design was too derivative of animation we've seen, the styles we've seen of Mobius, Fifth Element type of style of animation, Star Wars, plenty of serials, and maybe that's the point they want to go. It's we're harking back, but I mean, you can elevate that material. Mm-hmm. I never got a sense that they were elevating that material that they were being inspired by, and that's heartbreaking because to me, I would love when, as we're talking about now, a storyteller has an image, a vision, and I know it's tough sometimes to come up with an original project because everything nowadays you worry about being derivative of something else. Sometimes you can have a story and it'll be derivative of something, but still do it in a way that feels new and feels fresh. And it's one of those things where I think they tried to do too much in hopes that it will turn original, but it didn't.
Nothing about this movie felt original.
It took the method. We're going to throw everything into a pot, and that's what we're going to get.
And they also owe my uncle some royalty checks because they took his likeness for Jaeger Clade.
That is so. Can you introduce? Did I meet him at the wedding?
I don't. No, my uncle Jim wasn't at the wedding, but I'm like, this looks exactly like my uncle.
I gotta give me an autograph with the guy because he sounds like a real badass.
Well, there you go. But Joe, do you have any other final thoughts on Strange World?
Well, I will definitely say. I mean, we're trashing on this film a lot, but in actuality, I don't think it's the worst Disney animated movie I've ever seen. Not even by a long shot. I think
it's
Home on the Range takes that.
This movie,
Chicken Little is the worst.
Was fine.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful looking romp.
Yeah,
that has an important message, even if it's a very blunt one. I enjoyed this movie. I'd watch it again, but I don't love this movie. And if it was a stronger year in animation, I don't even think this would be nominated for Best Animated Feature.
I would be very surprised.
Or at least it shouldn't have been. It probably would, because it's Disney.
Because it's Disney and they need a stand-in. I mean, personally, I would prefer if they nominated both of the Pixar movies that they came out with. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling if it gets nominated for a Annie, which is the animation equivalent of the Oscars, it's most likely going to get nominated for Best Picture. As far as other final thoughts I've had on this, I wouldn't say it's the worst thing ever. I would just say it is probably very derivative of a lot of stuff that I feel like you owe yourself to check out. If you want to watch something with a good environmental message, there's plenty of movies that do that perfectly fine. I mean, we were making allusions to other material. I would even say Avatar has a great message on being environmental. I mean, the whole characters revolve around being elements of the earth.
Yeah. So, this is a fine film. It's not the most inspired that Disney Animation's put out in a while. No. It's actually one of the least inspired that they've put out in a while. And they marketed it poorly. I'm not surprised this really isn't making money. But, give us one to watch when it inevitably shows up on Disney Plus in a month because it's not going to stay in theaters that long.
I mean, it didn't even seem like they advertised it that well. I could see them releasing this on next week.
Like, I could see this dropping for Christmas. Like, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Because it's out of theaters already.
Yeah, I don't see there being a demand, which is kind of a shame. I don't like seeing big budget movies that have effort put into it not do well like that. But when things outweigh the good, you just can't help it, you know?
Yeah. Wakanda Forever is just raking up at the box office instead. So, Disney's not hurting. Let's just put it that way. But, Joe, thank you for coming on talking Strange World with me.
Definitely a strange video.
There you go. It's a fun time. But thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.
Take care, guys.